I'll never forget the line that I lived by when I was diagnosed with cancer, and it was from the movie We Bought a Zoo. And the line is, sometimes all you need is 20 seconds of insane courage, and I promise you something great will come of it. And that line, just like every time I walked through the doors at the Mayo Clinic, it was just like, just 20 seconds of insane courage. Just step through the doors, get through chemo, and you'll come out and it's gonna be okay.
Welcome to episode 78 of The Real Deal, where real estate meets real life. I'm your host, Janine Igliane, and I am very excited to introduce you to my guest today. Her name is Brescia. She not only has a very interesting personal story, but she's also going to talk to us about marketing. She runs a boutique marketing business. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
So I think we're going to learn a lot. I always love personal stories. So Brescia, thank you for being with us.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, this will be really fun. And it was super cool because your aunt is one of my clients that I've worked with for a very long time. I love their family. And she was the one that said, you need to have my niece on your podcast. So I love that. So anyone listening, if you think of anyone that I need to have on, let me know. But thanks for being here.
Yeah, I'm so happy and excited to be here.
Yeah. So as you know, we love to start at the beginning because that personal journey, kind of who we are and how we got to be where we are, makes up and kind of leads into your business. So can we start from the beginning and tell us, where did you grow up and all that good stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So I really did grow up in Gilbert, Arizona for the most part. Went to school, high school out here. A great experience living in Gilbert. It's, been part of my journey. I always tell people that I had, my family here, and then eventually went off to college in Flagstaff, Arizona at Northern Arizona University. I studied creative media and film.
Nice. What made you decide that is what you wanted to study?
Well, I've always known that I love videography. I love storytelling, and ever since I was little, I had a camera in my hand. I would get my younger brothers to be in videos that I would direct, and they would do it just kind of just to do it for me, but they didn't love it. But I loved it. So I was always creative, kind of when I first we had a home computer, and I learned how to edit videos and compose them, and it just felt like magic for me.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so I feel lucky that I knew at a young age what I wanted to do, and I just had to figure out how to turn it into a career, but ended up studying the creative media aspect at Northern Arizona University and really loved my time there. I was a sophomore in college when I studied abroad, actually in Italy, and studied some Italian cinema there, but came back from Italy and I had a routine physical with my doctor, and they found a lump in my neck, and turns out it was cancer, and I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer in college. And as a young adult, you kind of don't expect to be dealing with something like this. This is a community, like the adolescent and young adult cancer community, that isn't really represented. It's generally younger children and then the older generation. And so I kind of was like, what's next? How do I move forward? And I found a great team of doctors at the Mayo Clinic who took my case and helped me basically beat Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer through chemotherapy. And I was able to return to college the following semester. But that part of my journey, I've been through a lot of different health challenges over the years, but having cancer taught me a lot. And
let's talk about that, because that's a life-changing moment.
Yeah, totally.
Was anybody there with you while was your family there?
Yeah, so after the routine physical, they started with an ultrasound and then proceeded with a surgical biopsy where they pulled out the lymph nodes to test if they were cancerous. And I was seeing just an ear, nose, throat specialist at the time, and we were waiting for the office visit to see if they came back, with cancer. And I remember going into the office with both of my parents, and we were all sitting there, I'm very nervous, and he walked in the door and he was like, "Great news, you have Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer." And I was like, how is that good news? And he said, "Well, this is the cancer you want to get if you're gonna have cancer," because I learned later that non-Hodgkin's lymphoma is generally a lower success rate with the chemotherapy treatments. So when I found out I had the better cancer, that didn't make me feel any better.
Right.
So,
Nobody wants to hear that.
yeah.
How long was your treatment then? How long were you doing the chemo, radiation, all of that?
Yeah, so I had 6 rounds of chemo, and the protocol for Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer is like 4 to 5 rounds and then tacking on radiation. But we met with the radiologist, and he felt like because I was younger, it made more sense for me to just tack on extra rounds of chemotherapy because radiation has long-term side effects. So yeah, I went through 6 rounds of chemo. They gave me in each session 4 bags of drugs, and I got, a port inserted. It all went through that, and it was a icky, not good feeling and exhausting process, and it was just a really hard time in my life. So
we just did our annual Cornhole for a Cause, and the beneficiary, 15 years old, diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma as well.
Wow,
and I watched their family go through a very similar journey. And it's one of those things where it just doesn't make sense. You want to ask why. But how amazing and awesome that you're on the other side of that.
Yeah, totally. No, I think, and it's really neat that you guys did that, and you have that tie to understanding Hodgkin's lymphoma. But yeah, I feel like having cancer allowed me to not take life for granted and take calculated risks and be brave. And I'll never forget the line that I lived by when I was diagnosed with cancer, and it was from the movie We Bought a Zoo. And the line is, "Sometimes all you need is 20 seconds of insane courage, and I promise you something great will come of it." And that line, just every time I walked through the doors at the Mayo Clinic, it was just 20 seconds of insane courage. Just step through the doors, get through chemo, and you'll come out and it's gonna be okay. So
wow, that's powerful.
Yeah, so I live by that now.
I love that. Oh my gosh, that is just such great wisdom, and it's so good to remember, just take the next step, right? Do the next right thing, even when you don't feel like it, and it does take courage. Oh my gosh, that's hard, You feel like crap when you're going through that. Did you ever have moments where you're like, I just don't want to fight, I just want to give up?
I didn't ever feel that way, but I do feel, I try not to live in fear, but I think in every cancer survivor's mind is that, that little worrying voice that's like, what if something comes back? And today I'm 6 years cancer-free, and so it is awesome, and the chance of it coming back after the 5-year mark basically drops down to non-existent. But yeah, I think just knowing that it was a curable, treatable cancer gave me hope, and there's always that off chance that it might not, but I just believed that I could get through it.
They say that your mindset when you're battling cancer or really anything is so huge, and that honestly will make the difference, right? They see that in the ones that want to fight, that I'm going to get through this and that will battle through. Those are the ones that have a higher success rate in the ones that don't. And so your mindset is so important.
Totally.
And I'm sure it's hard in those moments to maintain that, but even just having that little phrase that you can rely on, right?
Yeah.
To just get yourself in the door is probably so powerful.
Yeah.
So what are things, having gone through that you do differently today because you have that perspective?
Well, I think something I'll just say really quick is I also have dealt with various mental health challenges in my life, and that was really all before the cancer. And so I kind of had to learn at a young age how to take care of my mental health and well-being and prioritize myself and understand what self-care really is and what that looks like. And when I was finishing my high school years, I graduated, I had just turned 18, and I went to a treatment center in Tucson where I learned how to live with the mental health challenges that I dealt with. And it was the turning point for me because I learned that they really don't define me. They just, like, if anything, enhance my life by learning how to work with them. Because I have anxiety, I'm able to turn that into somewhat of a superpower, and because I might be more OCD, it allows me to see things that maybe others that don't have those challenges can see. And so I think, and then on top of that, having cancer, I had this like huge tool set of being able to, like, I could pull from different areas when I was struggling. So like physically, really, I don't drink or smoke just for personal choices, but I feel like also that bleeds into taking care of my mental health and just kind of everything I've dealt with.
Yeah.
I've just kind of found that the more you listen to what your body needs and you're in tune with how you're feeling and you check in with your loved ones or support system, the more you're able to just manage the stressors of life and try your best to stay on top of just the challenges that come up.
Yeah, wow. That's amazing. And I think what I'm hearing you say is that you took these challenges that you've had to deal with and you're using them for good, right?
Yeah.
You've found ways, tools maybe, to help you move forward, because I think it's so easy to sit in that and to kind of put a label on yourself. I'm a cancer survivor, or I'm an anxious person, or whatever.
Yeah, totally.
And what you're saying is like, no, those are things that have happened to me, and I'm going to use them, and it's going to help me be better.
Totally, yeah.
And not like a victim.
Yeah.
What would you say to somebody that's listening to this podcast that's maybe kind of in that yucky mental health space? Maybe they're struggling with OCD or anxiety or whatever their diagnosis is. Like, what would you say to them? And they're young.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I would always say is you're not alone. There's more people struggling with mental health challenges than we even know, unfortunately, because there's such a stigma around it still. But the other thing is that what you're feeling is real, and it's okay to feel those feelings. Like if you're feeling depression or anxiety, those are all incredibly valid feelings, but you know, there always is a light at the end of the tunnel if you believe that. And so, like, the mind is powerful. It's powerful enough to put you into a depressive state, and it's also strong enough to pull you out of it. So I think just knowing that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, but it's okay to feel not great every day. You know, that's just normal, and we're all human.
Wow, I love that. That's super powerful, and I hope that someone listening would just take that and be encouraged, right? That you can get through it. And I think too, maybe leaning on others.
Totally.
And not being afraid to ask for help.
Totally.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so that's a lot. That's a lot for anybody, and yet you are young.
Yeah.
And now you have essentially turned a new page, and you are able to take what you learned in college and really what was your passion and put it into a business. So can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, so during the remainder of my college years, my mom and I actually started a mother-daughter film and photo business where we did a lot of weddings, like small brand videos, photos, lifestyle headshots, all that fun stuff, and it was really great. But my parents recently moved to Mexico, and they're actually realtors out there, living their best life.
Yeah.
So that naturally fizzled out, and I was like, well, it's my time to take what I'm doing and do it on my own and grow. And so I worked at a marketing agency in North Scottsdale for a short period of time as their social media marketing manager. That was a really good experience, but I learned that I could do what I was doing there on my own, and just there was no limit to my growth potential. So I took what I had been doing for years. I mean, even in high school, I was making videos for people and small things here and there, and then just turned it into, with my network of people I knew, I turned it into something bigger and built what I'm doing today, which is my boutique marketing agency, the Checkered Jaguar, and I get to do videography, photography for brands, businesses, but then also pair that with social media management. And it's really helped me, as an entrepreneur, by looking back at my challenges and saying, like, look, I'm relatable. I want to help you tell your story, because behind every great business, there's the person who created it. And, when an audience or someone finds a company on social media, they want to know the face behind it too. So I think with my challenges and everything I've gone through, I've learned that it's not just getting out a camera and helping them make reels or shorts, or it's also helping them find the value in telling their stories. And I love what I do. I'm grateful. It's still growing, and I'm always trying to network. I will sometimes just bring my business cards to coffee shops and just compliment someone and say, like,
I love that.
If you ever need headshots or anything, here's my business card. And so it's been awesome. I mean, it's the life of an entrepreneur, which nothing's promised, but it's fun and rewarding. So I
think it takes a special person to be an entrepreneur. I just did a video about this yesterday, that there's nobody telling you what to do or how to do it. You kind of figure it out. And at the same time, like, if you don't do it, the work doesn't get done. Right. And so you have to have that internal drive that motivates you. And it sounds like yours is your passion for what you do. And then that's what motivates you to want to go out and help a bunch of other people.
Totally.
We were talking off camera that the social media marketing is not going away.
Right.
And if anything, it's free advertising, right? Like, I paid to have my ads in magazines or on billboards and whatnot, and yet that's cost me money, whereas I can put all the content out I want on social media platforms, and that it doesn't cost me anything, which is like so powerful.
Right.
We also were talking about how people will look at your social media almost like a resume for you to say, hey, is this somebody that I want to do business with? Are they credible? Do they do a good job? What do they do?
Totally.
What makes them different? So in light of that, what would you say are some best practices when it comes to social media marketing?
Yeah, I think having a strategy, like, it's all fun to be creative and, find the fun in the creation of the reels and content, but also having a strategy backed by what you're putting out there. So understanding relevant trends in your industry. And sometimes that's just finding a trending audio and catching it before it gets too big. And so I always tell clients, if we can pair your content with a trending audio that has less than 2,000 videos, you're going to catch it on the uphill, and there's a higher chance of you going viral if you use that trending audio. So there's little tricks. There's also, the algorithm, specifically Instagram. A lot of social media managers use scheduling tools. So I use Hootsuite, which is really powerful way to get, because I have clients posting out on various channels, so it's all in one platform. But the big thing is knowing when to post. So you can understand that by looking at your analytics, and you can see, if I put, it's like trial and error, but you can see if I post like before 8:30 a.m., what does that look like versus if I'm doing an afternoon or midday post. But really, something people don't realize too is how important it is to not post at like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. You want to post on the in-between times, because a lot of social media managers schedule for that, like right on the hour time frame. And so you just have to find ways to get your content to stand out. And like I've done a lot of industry research in real estate, and it seems like some of the top, I'm sure you know, they have a strategy behind. It's not just come check out this listing, it's starting with a hook. You have 3 seconds to captivate your audience, because our attention spans just are so small. So there's so many different ways to stand out in your industry, but that's why I feel like having someone who generally is younger and understands the trends and relevant, you know, things happening on social media is so powerful.
Yeah, I love that. Summer, I found her because she made a really cool video of her dad cooking on a Blackstone. And I was like, that's an awesome video. Would she want to do that for me? And she is super good. She's very young and just very, very good at what she does. And I love like all that you're sharing, because I feel like, okay, we're doing it. We're on the right track.
Yeah.
But I also love what you said in that it's intentional. It doesn't just the strategy aspect, right? It doesn't just happen. It's not like I post every once in a while. No, like we know this is what we're posting every day of the week. And then we're accountable to that. We don't have to think about it. And then we can add in the additional things from there. We also, I mean, it's hard. It's so funny. We were just talking about this yesterday. Like, who would have thought when we got into real estate that we were going to also be content creators? That we were also going to be marriage therapists, because that ends up happening too, right? Like there's all these, I thought I was just selling houses. No. But it is what it is, right?
Totally.
And if you have a business in today's world, you have to be on social media. And it's just the way of the world. Do you have a favorite platform?
I'm partial to Instagram. Just, I feel like my generation grew up loving it. Like it started as a photo sharing platform, and we watched it evolve to being not just photos, but videos too. And obviously, like my parents use Facebook, and so I realized that a lot of the clients I'm going after are on Facebook. So yeah, I think it just depends. Each platform serves its purpose, and TikTok is generally for even younger than me, but you'll find everyone on, you know, every platform. But I think it's just been fun for me to watch the evolution of Instagram. But also YouTube is actually where I've gotten my most viral posts for clients and traction. So
what's working on YouTube?
YouTube Shorts, they're kind of like not tapped into as much. And if you know how to put the right keywords in, and there's like a hidden section after you've posted the short, you can go into the YouTube Studio Manager and you can put in keywords under the hashtags. And because it's an extra step, most people don't know about it. And so I feel like that's really helped. And then just putting keywords or like SEO, search engine optimization, friendly words in the title. What
about, I love that you shared that. And we really are working hard on that. And I think we have done a good job with, we just separated our YouTube, like our long form YouTube videos, and then we created a shorts account.
Oh, nice.
So only our shorts are showing up on there, because I was told that the length of time on your channel helps boost. And so when you have a bunch of shorts, but then you also have long form, it can throw those numbers off. Like I guess Joe Rogan, Mr. Beast, they all have their separate clips, I think they call it, right?
Totally, yeah. No, I haven't even thought about that, honestly. But if that's what they're doing, those are the greats. Those are the ones who've mastered it.
That's like a lesson, right? Is look at who's doing it and doing it well and just copy them.
Totally, yeah.
I do that.
No, it's true. And Mr. Beast, one of his filmmakers, has a whole video about the art behind content creation and how he works with Mr. Beast. And I mean, you could just type that in on YouTube and it's like an hour plus in length, but I've watched that and studied that and it's so cool because they've mastered it. And so learning from people like that, that's like free education.
Totally. It's funny because I was just talking to somebody yesterday and she wants to move. She lives in Oregon and she wants to move to the Gilbert area. And she was telling me how she's been watching these videos on YouTube and she watched this one video that was talking about this and this other video, all about real estate, right? And I was like, I love that. And that is where they say that YouTube's the #2 most used search engine. And in the real estate space, you don't think people are going to go to YouTube to look up homes for sale in Gilbert, right? But they are.
Right.
And there are things that they're learning from YouTube. YouTube, I think, is a great learning platform. But also, I've heard that majority of people are getting their news from social media channels, not the news, like not Channel 4 or whatever, you know what I mean? Like we're not turning on CNN to learn, we're going to Instagram and getting our news that way. And so that's another reason, is to be the person that's bringing the news to the masses.
Right.
What are your thoughts on LinkedIn?
I love it. I think it's a really powerful way to connect with people in your industry. I would say I use it personally for trying to network, but I don't post a ton of client work there. I work with an automotive group of companies, and our platforms are TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. We don't really do LinkedIn, but for example, if the owner of the company was like, I want to grow my personal brand and establish myself in the automotive industry, I would say, great, let's get your page front and center on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So, but everyone's going to have a different opinion. That's just what I kind of do with my clients. But for real estate, I'm sure that's really important.
Yeah, that's one area of opportunity I need to get on.
Yeah.
I also think, a mistake people make is trying to think they have to do everything all at once. And I think it's helpful if you bite, or, like, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? You just break it up into chunks and say, okay, let me focus on this platform.
Right.
Right. And if it's Instagram, then let me get consistent here, get a strategy, and then let me move on.
Yeah.
One of the things that we do, which is so funny, is we'll take the same content and put it on all platforms. And it will do, like, we have these videos on TikTok that are like crushing it. And on Instagram, it's like crickets.
I know.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
And same with YouTube Shorts, like the same video will do differently on different platforms.
Right. It's crazy how that works. It can sometimes be discouraging.
Right.
And it's just, every platform has a different type of audience, and sometimes you kind of have to mold the content for that specific platform. I always feel like TikTok, the chances of going viral are so much higher than on Instagram, because I understand the crickets. It's like, I've got the followers, why aren't they engaging? And so I think it always comes down to finding new ways to captivate them in those first 3 seconds. And I even use ChatGPT all the time. I have this idea for a video. Help me break it down with 5 different viral hook ideas.
Yes.
That's too long. Help me change it to this. So finding ways to use AI to enhance and help you with high performing, high level content.
Yeah. AI is amazing. I was in a mastermind last night, and we were talking significantly about AI and how to use it in our business and kind of where that's going, and it's just getting better every day. And when you use it, and it can get to know you too.
Totally.
Right? And so it can really become personal, but it's amazing. I've started using it in all of my listing videos, and I'll say, acting as a realtor, write me a script for a listing video and I'll put in the address. It knows all the info about it.
Crazy.
And it will even tell you, now cut to this shot and cut to that. And you're like, oh my gosh, it's amazing.
Oh, it's so nice.
It is so nice.
It saves time.
It saves time. And after, I always say this, I'm not a creative person in that way. My brain doesn't think that way. I sell houses, right? I'm not. So it just helps me to not have to come up with those ideas all the time.
Totally, yeah. So, I know some people don't love the way we're progressing to AI, but I just think it might take away some jobs, but it might also just enhance learning how to do your job, but just do it smarter and work a little bit more efficiently.
I agree. And it's not always right.
Yeah.
So you can't just trust it blankly.
Right.
You have to be critical, right? But also using it to your advantage. They were saying last night in my mastermind that AI won't replace realtors, but realtors who use AI will replace other realtors.
Oh, I like that.
Right?
Yeah,
and so take it, use it in your business to your advantage, and you will be a step ahead of everybody else.
Totally.
It's also super interesting too, because I think one of the unique things that social media does that's different from maybe other marketing channels is it gives you the opportunity to build relationship with others in that it's interactive, right? Someone can comment on a post and I can respond. It also gives them a chance to get to know me personally. So can you speak to the personal side versus professional side, and what should that look like? Like, how much should you be sharing? What should you be sharing? All of that.
That's a really good question. I think it depends on your industry. Like, I would say I've worked with people in the home service industry, and some of those people are really affluential, and part of their brand is their image too. And so you can't tell their story without them in it. And we tap into that, you know, and for being a realtor, you don't just show up to work, clock in, clock out. You're always on the job, and you have to make calls, you know, work around the clock. And so helping clients see that you're also a mom, you're also, you know, you're maybe you have like a fitness routine and you try to maintain a balanced lifestyle. And so I think like for your industry, it does bleed into the personal side. And because that helps your potential home buyer or someone who wants to work with you feel that they can trust you, and that, okay, she's a real human, she's a mom, I'm a mom, I love that about her, like she's also killing it, like she's a badass, good for her. And so I think you have to know your audience, and certain industries I would say maybe need to stay more professional. Like if I was running the Mayo Clinic social media, I wouldn't go to the doctor's home after hours, you know, so I would want to show how they're helping patients and elevating their, you know, lifestyles. And so I think you have to be smart enough to understand what your audience wants to see from you. And then also like that trial and error, maybe a day in your life video is going to perform better than a different kind of video. And so maybe that's part of your strategy is one day in the life video per week, or, you know, so it depends. But I think most cases it's important to show you, the person behind the business too.
I love that. Yeah. That's good. That's hard because it's like, it feels vulnerable sometimes, right? Like, are they going to like me if they, but it also, hopefully they will. And I think that's another part of it is just being okay with not everyone, you're not for everyone. Right. But the ones that you are, when you show up authentically, like that bond is going to be even deeper.
Right.
The other thing I think that people forget about is you can't just post and go. Right? Like it's really helpful to interact, comment on others. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. One of the clients I've worked with for years, she's a financial advisor, and just part of the strategy is engaging with her audience. And so she has a lot of high net worth clients. And so I'm going in acting as her and engaging with them. And that's important because you're right, you can't just post something and close the app. You have to engage with your audience. And whether that means like setting a timer, like, okay, 30 minutes a day, I'm just gonna go in and I'm gonna respond. I'm gonna do like 10 story replies on Instagram. I'm gonna go comment. A cool thing that a lot of people don't know about is you can like, you know, with hashtags, you can search that in the search bars. Then you could search like Gilbert family or Gilbert activities, and then go engage with those profiles, you know. And so finding people in your niche, in your world, and even if you don't follow them, just taking some time to engage. And I mean, the dark side of social media is it can be addicting. So you kind of have to find the balance. But once you do that and implement that, I feel like it's like the karma effect. You know, you put genuine comments, thoughtfulness out there, and then it'll come back and people will engage with you because they appreciate your engagement.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
This is so good. I hope everybody on my team, I'm going to make them listen to this. I think everybody should listen to it if you have a business, because there's so many good things that you shared.
Thanks.
What didn't I ask you that I should have asked you?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I feel like you covered a lot. I mean, I also have a podcast that's also called The Checkered Jaguar, where I normalize difficult and vulnerable conversations. And I've had a lot of cool people on my show. And so I feel like what I'm doing today with The Checkered Jaguar on the marketing side, I'm passionate about, and I'm also equally as passionate about giving others a platform to share their story, which is why I appreciate you giving me a space to share mine. And yeah, so I just am grateful for where I'm at today. And yeah, I'm always an advocate for mental health awareness. And then now these days also getting your annual physicals and checkups, because that's how they found my cancer.
Yes, thank goodness for that.
Yeah.
If someone wanted to find you, maybe they want to work with you, how can they find you?
Yeah, you can find my website. It's just checkeredjaguar.com. And then, my name's Brescia, and I'm on social media on the personal side too. I have a unique name, so it's pretty easy to find me. But yeah, I'm always excited and open to connecting with new people and just helping brands, businesses, individuals tell their stories.
Awesome. Brescia, this was so good. We like to end with a speed round. So it's like rapid fire questions. Are you up for that?
Yes.
Okay, but before I jump into that, I feel like there has to be a story behind the Checkered Jaguar.
Oh, yeah, there is.
Can you share it?
Yeah, thanks for asking. So I love vintage shopping and clothes and fashion. And I was at a vintage antique mall in Mesa, and I just, spend hours in there. But there was this booth that had this, I've never seen a jacket like this before. It was like an 80s, 90s black button-up jacket with a sequined jaguar on the back with checkers behind it. Mm-hmm. So the jaguar had its normal spots, but the checkers behind it were just popping, and I was obsessed with it. It was, at the time, I was like, I'm not going to spend the money on it, but I walked around a little bit more and came back and bought it.
I love that.
So I, when coming up with the name for my brand and business, I wanted to pull from that, but also, if a jaguar had checkers, then it would be a unique jaguar. And so, and different. And I love being different and not conforming and not fitting in. And so I think checkers on a jaguar are a pretty unique element.
I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, you ready for our speed round?
Yes.
Okay, do you have a favorite color?
Blue.
Okay, figured maybe at the top.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite drink?
Iced tea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Favorite food?
Anything Mexican.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite sound?
I love horses, so probably just the sound of them neighing or whinnying.
I love that. Those are actually really good for mental health too.
Yes,
right?
they are. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite book?
Yes, it's Grit by Angela Duckworth.
Yes.
Yeah, the psychology.
Such a good one.
Yes,
right?
yes.
That is such a great metaphor for your life, right? Of the things that we go through create grit in us.
Yes.
And that helps us to be better. That's awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Love it. Okay, I have a feeling I know the answer to this question, but do you have a favorite podcast? Besides your own, maybe?
Yeah. I feel like I would say the Jay Shetty.
Oh, yeah.
I just love that. And probably Mel, of course.
Yeah.
Everyone loves her.
Good.
Yeah, there's so many good ones out there, though.
Okay, last but not least, do you have a favorite vacation?
Yes, anywhere in the mountains or London, England. That's my favorite place on earth.
Oh, I love it. We're supposed to be going there next summer because my middle daughter graduates, and so I'm so excited to tell me.
Oh, you're going to love it.
Yeah.
Have you been?
No.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
Really?
You have to do it right.
Oh, yeah.
When you know the right restaurants, places.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need you to tell me all the things.
Yeah, I'll send you a list.
We're going to live it up.
I love it.
Oh, well, thanks for being with us. This was so fun.
Yeah.
And I hope that anyone listening, not only that you learned some nuggets that you can take and go implement in your business, but reach out to Brescia if you think that you could benefit from her services. And thank you for sharing your personal story with us. I think it's so powerful. And that touched me, and I'm sure it's going to touch people that were listening. So thank you, Brescia.
I appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening to the Real Deal podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe, and you can follow us on social media at the Home Selling Team AZ.